Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to share 7 simple rules that can help you stay calm, strong, and unshaken, no matter what happens around you. These rules are about protecting your peace and keeping control over your mind. When we talk about focusing only on what you can control, we are speaking about a principle that is simple in idea but profound in practice. In life, there are countless things that happen around us that are beyond our influence. People behave in ways we do not expect. Situations arise that we cannot predict. Nature itself does not follow our desires. Many people spend their lives reacting to these external events, letting their emotions swing like a ship in a storm. They feel anger when someone insults them, frustration when plans fail, fear when uncertainty comes, and sadness when others act unjustly. All of this energy is spent on things that are simply not under their control. Focusing on what you can control begins with understanding the difference between what is inside your power and what is not. Your thoughts, your decisions, your words, your actions, these are entirely yours. You can choose how you respond to events, how you interpret situations, and how you act toward others. Everything else, from what others think of you to how the world unfolds, exists outside of your command. When you accept this, a great freedom emerges. You no longer tie your happiness to the unpredictable whims of others or the chaos of circumstances. You anchor your peace in what you can manage, in the one area where you truly have authority yourself. To focus on what you can control, begin by observing your own mind. Notice when anger rises or when worry begins to take hold. Ask yourself, can I change the situation? Often the answer is no. If the answer is no, then it is a waste of energy to dwell on it. You can, however, change your attitude toward it. You can change the story you tell yourself about what has happened. You can choose patience instead of irritation, calm instead of panic. This choice is yours alone. By directing your energy toward what you can influence, you use your strength where it matters most. This focus also changes the way you interact with others. When someone insults you, provokes you, or acts unfairly, it is easy to react with anger. Yet, anger is often fueled by the belief that you can control the other person's behavior. If you realize that you cannot, the anger loses its power. Instead, you respond thoughtfully. You protect your peace and act with wisdom. You cannot control their words, but you can control your reaction. You cannot control their actions, but you can control your own. Focusing on what is in your control also brings clarity in decision-making. Life presents endless choices, and the world is full of distractions. When you concentrate on what you can influence, you are able to prioritize what matters. You are not pulled in every direction by what others are doing or saying. You act deliberately, not impulsively. You measure your energy carefully, investing it where it can have an effect, rather than wasting it on futile efforts. The practice of this focus requires patience and constant awareness. Old habits of blaming circumstances or resenting others may creep back, but each time you return to what you can control, your inner strength grows. Your mind becomes like a clear lake, reflecting reality without being tossed by every passing wind. You begin to see that peace is not given by the world, it is created within. You cultivate resilience, knowing that no matter what happens outside, your response remains your own. By consistently reminding yourself to focus only on what you can control, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering. You stop chasing impossible outcomes and instead nurture what is truly important. You become a master of your own mind, a guardian of your own calm, and a person who is not easily disturbed by the unpredictable nature of life. Not taking things personally is a skill that can transform the way we live. Many people experience anger, frustration, and sadness because they believe that the actions or words of others are directed at them in a personal way. Someone criticizes, someone gossips, someone ignores or dismisses them, and immediately they feel hurt or attacked. Yet, the truth is that people's actions are almost always a reflection of themselves, not of us. Everyone carries their own thoughts, fears, insecurities, and struggles, and their behavior is shaped by these inner experiences. Understanding this allows you to create a space between what others do and how you feel. When someone behaves in a way that seems rude or disrespectful, the natural tendency is to assume that it is about you. You may think, they don't like me, or they are trying to hurt me. But in reality, their behavior often has little or nothing to do with you. They may be angry because of stress, disappointment, or fear in their own life. They may be acting out of habit, frustration, or ignorance. By recognizing that their actions are about them, not you, you free yourself from the weight of unnecessary suffering. You no longer carry the burden of their moods or opinions. Not taking things personally also helps you respond wisely rather than react impulsively. When someone says something harsh, if you immediately internalize it, your first response may be anger or hurt. You may retaliate, argue, or stew in resentment. This allows the other person's behavior to control your emotions. But when you step back and remind yourself that it is not about you, you regain control. You choose your response calmly and thoughtfully. You protect your peace and act with clarity rather than being swept away by the waves of emotion. This approach also requires patience and repeated practice. The human mind has a natural tendency to personalize events because it seeks meaning and connection. When someone is critical or dismissive, it is easy to assume it is a judgment of your worth. Yet, by observing carefully and questioning that assumption, you begin to see the truth. Most people are caught in their own stories and struggles. Their behavior is rarely an accurate reflection of your value or character. Recognizing this truth gradually reduces the emotional impact of negative words and actions. Understanding that others' behavior is not about you also encourages compassion. When you see that someone is acting out of fear, insecurity, or pain, it is easier to respond with patience instead of anger. You may feel empathy rather than offense. You learn that what seems like cruelty or rudeness is often a signal of inner struggle. This perspective does not mean that you accept harmful behavior or allow it to continue. Rather, it gives you the clarity to act with wisdom rather than react emotionally. Not taking things personally allows you to maintain a sense of inner freedom. When your mood is not dictated by the approval or disapproval of others, you are less dependent on external circumstances for your happiness. You become grounded in your own values and judgments, rather than in the unpredictable opinions of others. Life becomes less stressful because you are no longer trying to control how people perceive you or whether they treat you fairly. You focus on your own actions, integrity, and peace. The more you practice this principle, the stronger your mind becomes. You start to see patterns clearly. The world operates according to its own rules. People act according to their own struggles, and only your own mind is truly within your control. By refusing to take things personally, you cultivate calmness and resilience. You preserve your energy for what truly matters and stop being drawn into unnecessary conflict or emotional turmoil. You protect your inner peace by understanding that most of what people do is about them, not about you. Pausing before reacting is one of the most powerful habits you can develop. Life constantly presents situations that challenge your patience and test your emotions. Someone says something hurtful, a plan goes wrong, or a problem appears unexpectedly. In those moments, the natural impulse is to react immediately. You may feel anger, fear, frustration, or disappointment rising inside you. Reacting instantly is a habit that most people have, but it often leads to actions they later regret. When you pause, even for a few seconds, you create a space in which clarity and calm can emerge. The pause is more than just a brief moment of silence. It is a deliberate choice to not allow your immediate emotions to dictate your response. When anger surges, your mind narrows, and your vision of the situation becomes distorted. You may see threats where there are none, or assume bad intentions that do not exist. By taking a pause, you give your mind the chance to assess the situation objectively. You can observe your own emotions and recognize that they are temporary responses to external events. You can consider the consequences of your actions before committing to them. Pausing before reacting also allows you to regain control over your energy. Emotions, especially intense ones, can consume a great deal of mental and physical strength. When you respond without thinking, you are expending that energy in ways that often do not solve the problem and may even make it worse. By pausing, you redirect your energy toward thoughtful action rather than impulsive reaction. You protect your peace and conserve your strength for challenges that truly require it. This habit requires awareness. You must notice the early signs of emotional agitation, the quickening of your heartbeat, the tension in your muscles, the urge to speak or act immediately. Once you notice these signs, you can consciously step back. A pause can be as simple as taking a deep breath, counting to 10, or silently saying to yourself, "I will respond with wisdom, not anger." Even a brief pause is enough to create distance between the stimulus and your response. Pausing also improves your relationships and interactions with others. Many conflicts arise because people react before thinking. Words spoken in anger can wound, decisions made impulsively can create regret, and misunderstandings grow when responses are immediate and unfiltered. By learning to pause, you communicate with clarity and calm. Your responses become measured, respectful, and constructive. Others are more likely to listen and understand when you are composed, and conflicts can be reduced or even avoided altogether. In addition, Pausing before reacting strengthens your inner self-discipline. It reminds you that you are the master of your mind, not the circumstances around you. External events may be beyond your control, but your response is always within your power. Each time you choose to pause, you exercise this control and reinforce your ability to remain steady under pressure. Over time, this habit becomes instinctive. Your mind grows resilient, and you become less prone to emotional turbulence. This practice also enhances your judgment. When emotions are intense, your thinking becomes clouded. Decisions made in the heat of anger or fear are rarely the best ones. By pausing, you allow your rational mind to guide your actions. You can evaluate the situation, consider the options, and choose a path that aligns with your values and long-term goals. You act with intention rather than impulse, and the outcomes are more likely to be positive and effective. Pausing before reacting is not a sign of weakness or hesitation. It is a mark of strength and wisdom. It is a demonstration that you are in control of your mind, and that your peace is more important than any immediate reaction. By practicing this habit consistently, you reduce unnecessary suffering, avoid regrets, and approach life with clarity, patience, and calmness. Each pause is a small but powerful step toward mastery over yourself, a way to ensure that you respond to the world, rather than letting the world dictate your emotions and actions. Keeping the bigger picture in mind is a practice that helps you rise above the small annoyances and temporary difficulties of life. Every day, we encounter events that seem urgent or important in the moment. Someone may offend us, a plan may fall apart, or a minor inconvenience may disrupt our routine. It is easy to get caught up in these immediate problems and allow them to dominate our thoughts and emotions. However, when we take a step back and consider the broader perspective, we begin to see that many of these troubles are small and fleeting in the larger scope of life. Thinking about the bigger picture starts with recognizing the temporary nature of most events. Situations that feel overwhelming today often seem trivial in a week, a month, or a year. People we argue with may move on, difficulties may resolve themselves, and disappointments may fade. By keeping this in mind, we can prevent our emotions from being dominated by things that have little lasting significance. The momentary frustration or anger that arises loses its power when placed in a wider context, allowing us to respond with calmness rather than reactivity. The bigger picture also helps us measure the true importance of our actions and decisions. We often magnify problems in our minds, giving them more weight than they deserve. By asking ourselves whether a particular event or insult will matter in the long term, we filter out unnecessary stress and focus on what truly counts. For example, a harsh comment from a colleague or a minor setback in a project may seem urgent and painful in the moment, but when viewed from the perspective of your life goals or personal growth, it may be insignificant. This understanding frees you from wasting emotional energy on trivial matters and allows you to devote your attention to things that genuinely shape your life. Keeping the bigger picture in mind also encourages patience. Many difficulties and conflicts arise because we expect immediate results or justice. We react strongly to temporary obstacles or perceived slights, forgetting that life unfolds over time. By maintaining a broader view, we develop patience and can endure challenges without being overwhelmed. This perspective reminds us that most hardships are temporary, and that our response, rather than the situation itself, determines the quality of our experience. This practice also fosters humility. When we remember that life is vast, and that the world operates on a scale much larger than our individual concerns, our personal grievances and fears become less central. The universe does not revolve around our preferences or comfort. By seeing ourselves as part of a larger whole, we reduce the intensity of our self-centered reactions and cultivate a calmer, more balanced mindset. We stop believing that every inconvenience is a personal attack and start understanding that much of life is simply the unfolding of natural events beyond our control. Keeping the bigger picture in mind improves decision-making and problem-solving. When you focus on immediate frustrations, your mind can become narrow and reactive. By stepping back and considering the long-term implications, you can choose responses that are wise, measured, and effective. You can identify what truly matters and what is not worth your attention, allowing you to invest your time and energy in ways that support your long-term goals and peace of mind. Furthermore, this perspective reduces emotional turbulence. By seeing life as a series of events with varying degrees of significance, you learn not to let every small disturbance dictate your mood. You maintain steadiness even in challenging circumstances, because you understand that most problems are temporary and that your calm, rational response matters more than the event itself. This mindset gradually transforms your approach to life, making you less reactive, more composed, and capable of enduring hardships without losing inner peace. Keeping the bigger picture in mind is not a matter of ignoring reality or dismissing difficulties. It is about understanding the relative importance of events and choosing where to direct your attention and energy. By consistently practicing this perspective, you develop resilience, wisdom, and a sense of calm that is not easily shaken by minor setbacks or irritations. You become someone who moves through life with clarity, focusing on what matters most and letting the rest pass without unnecessary disturbance. Accepting what happens is one of the most important skills for maintaining peace of mind. Life is unpredictable. Things rarely go exactly as planned. People act in ways we do not expect. Events occur that are outside our control. When we resist what happens, we create suffering for ourselves. Anger, frustration, disappointment, and anxiety often come from a refusal to accept reality as it is. We wish the world were different, and when it is not, we feel powerless and upset. Acceptance does not mean that we approve of everything or that we stop taking action. It simply means that we recognize reality and stop wasting energy fighting what cannot be changed. Accepting what happens begins with noticing the difference between what is within your power and what is not. You cannot control other people's actions, the weather, accidents, or unexpected setbacks. You can, however, control your own thoughts, reactions, and decisions. By focusing on your own power and not resisting the world as it unfolds, you conserve energy and reduce unnecessary suffering. This does not mean being passive or indifferent. It means engaging with life wisely, understanding what you can influence, and letting go of the rest. When you accept what happens, you gain clarity. Resistance clouds the mind. It fills you with frustration and anger that prevent clear thinking. If a plan fails, if someone offends you, or if circumstances are difficult, resistance may lead to rash decisions and emotional outbursts. Acceptance, on the other hand, allows you to see the situation clearly. You can evaluate what can be done and act in a way that aligns with your values. You respond rationally rather than react impulsively. Your mind becomes steady, and you make choices based on reason instead of emotion. Acceptance also brings freedom. Many people feel trapped by their circumstances because they constantly fight against reality. They complain, blame others, or dwell on what should have been. This mental struggle keeps them tied to events they cannot change. When you accept what happens, you release yourself from this trap. You stop wasting energy trying to control the uncontrollable and instead focus on your own response. You become free to act with wisdom and calm, rather than being dominated by frustration and resentment. This principle also cultivates resilience. Life is full of setbacks, disappointments, and unexpected difficulties. People who resist these events are easily broken by them. Those who accept what happens, however, adapt and endure. They understand that hardships are part of life, and that resisting them only increases suffering. By accepting reality, they maintain their inner balance and continue to move forward despite challenges. Acceptance does not eliminate difficulties, but it changes the way you experience them. It transforms obstacles into opportunities for growth and learning. Accepting what happens also reduces emotional turbulence in relationships. Conflicts often arise because we expect others to behave in ways that match our desires. When they do not, we feel hurt or angry. By accepting that people act according to their own beliefs, struggles, and intentions, you stop reacting emotionally to their behavior. You engage with others with patience and understanding, rather than resentment. You maintain your peace and respond in ways that are constructive and calm. This practice requires constant awareness and reflection. It is easy to slip back into old habits of resisting reality, blaming circumstances, or wishing things were different. Every time you notice resistance, remind yourself that the event has already happened and cannot be changed. What matters is how you respond. By accepting what happens, you develop strength, patience, and composure. Your mind becomes a calm center in a chaotic world. You act with wisdom, respond thoughtfully, and avoid unnecessary suffering. Accepting what happens does not mean abandoning your goals or ignoring problems. It means understanding reality as it is and working with it rather than against it. It allows you to act effectively within the limits of what is possible and to maintain peace even when life is difficult. Each moment of acceptance strengthens your inner stability and builds the foundation for a life guided by reason, calm, and clarity. Speaking and acting with purpose is essential for maintaining control over your life and protecting your peace. Too often, people let their words and actions be driven by habit, emotion, or the influence of others. They speak without thinking, react without intention, or act simply to please others or gain approval. This leads to unnecessary conflict, regret, and wasted energy. By contrast, when you act and speak with purpose, every word, every gesture, and every decision is deliberate. You are aware of your intentions and ensure they align with your values and long-term goals. This practice strengthens your mind and guards your peace. Speaking with purpose begins with awareness of your own thoughts and emotions. Words are powerful. They can build or destroy, calm or provoke. Before speaking, take a moment to consider why you are saying something and what effect it may have. Are you speaking to clarify, to help, or to act with integrity? Or are you speaking out of anger, fear, pride, or impatience? By asking this question, you ensure that your words are a reflection of your wisdom rather than a reaction to circumstance. Purposeful speech avoids unnecessary arguments, reduces misunderstandings, and prevents you from saying things you may regret later. Acting with purpose is closely connected to speaking with purpose. Every action you take has consequences, and when actions are impulsive or unconsidered, they can create problems or escalate conflicts. When you act deliberately, you evaluate the situation, consider your options, and choose a response that is aligned with reason and your values. Purposeful action is not hurried or chaotic. It is thoughtful, controlled, and effective. You conserve your energy by focusing on what matters and avoid getting drawn into situations that are trivial or harmful. This approach also strengthens your self-discipline. Life presents endless opportunities to act without reflection, from reacting to criticism to pursuing distractions or indulgences. By choosing to speak and act with purpose, you exercise control over your impulses and your attention. You do not allow the chaos of the world or the whims of others to dictate your behavior. Instead, you shape your life according to your principles, acting as the master of your mind rather than a servant of circumstance. Speaking and acting with purpose improves your relationships and interactions with others. People are more likely to respect someone who communicates clearly and acts thoughtfully. When you respond with intention, your words carry weight and your actions have impact. Others see your calmness and clarity, and conflicts are reduced because you do not contribute to unnecessary emotional turbulence. You become someone who is steady, reliable, and respected, rather than reactive and easily disturbed. This practice also fosters patience and reflection. When every word and action is deliberate, you naturally slow down your responses. You are less likely to react impulsively to provocation or stress, and more likely to consider the long-term consequences of your behavior. Patience allows you to act in alignment with reason and values rather than emotion. You conserve mental energy and avoid being dragged into conflicts or distractions that do not serve you. Furthermore, speaking and acting with purpose protects your inner peace. Words spoken carelessly and actions taken without thought often create regret, guilt, or tension. By acting deliberately, you reduce these negative consequences. You build a life of integrity, where your actions match your principles and your words reflect your wisdom. This consistency between thought, word, and deed creates stability and calmness that cannot easily be disturbed by external events. Finally, speaking and acting with purpose helps you live intentionally rather than passively. Life is full of noise, distractions, and pressures from others. When you act and speak with awareness, you navigate this noise without being swept away. You focus on what truly matters, invest your energy wisely, and maintain clarity in the midst of chaos. Purposeful behavior is a tool for freedom, allowing you to live in accordance with reason, maintain your composure, and act in ways that strengthen your peace and resilience. Guarding your mind like a fortress is essential for maintaining peace and clarity in a world full of distractions, negativity, and unnecessary conflict. The mind is the center of your experience, the place where thoughts, emotions, and decisions are formed. If it is left unprotected, it can be invaded by stress, anger, fear, and the opinions of others, causing unrest and confusion. When you treat your mind as a fortress, you control what enters it and how you respond to the outside world. This practice allows you to preserve your calm, act with reason, and maintain clarity in every situation. Guarding your mind begins with awareness of what you allow yourself to think about. Many people spend their time ruminating on things they cannot change or worrying about events that may never happen. Others are consumed by gossip, criticism, or the opinions of those around them. These thoughts act like intruders in the fortress of the mind, draining energy and disturbing peace. By becoming conscious of these intrusions, you can choose to focus on what is meaningful, constructive, and within your control. You train yourself to reject unnecessary negativity and protect the calmness of your inner life. This practice also involves setting boundaries for what you expose yourself to. Not everything you see, hear, or read needs to enter your mind. Constant exposure to social media, toxic conversations, or unhelpful debates can weaken your mental defenses. By deciding what to pay attention to, you maintain the integrity of your thoughts and avoid unnecessary agitation. The fortress is strongest when you actively choose to allow only what contributes to your growth, understanding, and peace. Guarding your mind also requires managing your emotions. Strong emotions, especially anger, fear, and resentment, can break through your mental defenses if you are not careful. They cloud judgment and lead to impulsive actions or destructive thinking. By observing your emotions without being dominated by them, you strengthen your control over your mind. You allow feelings to pass like clouds in the sky, rather than letting them take over the entire landscape of your thoughts. This creates a space for rational thinking and calm reflection, which are the hallmarks of a strong mind. The practice of guarding your mind encourages discernment in your interactions with others. People will often try to influence your thoughts, provoke reactions, or draw you into conflict. A guarded mind does not mean being cold or distant. It means being selective about what influences you allow to shape your thinking. You listen carefully, observe, and respond intentionally, rather than letting the words or actions of others dictate your emotional state. This skill builds resilience, making you less vulnerable to manipulation, negativity, or unnecessary stress. Guarding the mind also means protecting it from overthinking and mental clutter. Many worries, doubts, and hypothetical scenarios arise from imagining things that have not yet happened or obsessing over things that cannot be changed. By focusing on the present and on matters within your control, you reduce unnecessary mental noise. The fortress becomes a place of clarity, where thoughts are purposeful, organized, and aligned with your values. This practice strengthens both your mental and emotional stability. Life is unpredictable and challenges will always arise. A mind that is well guarded remains calm amidst chaos. By cultivating inner discipline, you can face difficulties without being overwhelmed. You approach problems rationally, make better decisions, and maintain emotional balance even in adversity. Guarding your mind like a fortress is an ongoing process. It requires vigilance, self-awareness, and consistent effort. Each thought you allow, each emotion you observe without being controlled by, and each influence you accept or reject contributes to the strength of your inner citadel. The stronger the fortress, the more resilient and peaceful you become, capable of navigating life's challenges with clarity, composure, and wisdom.